ball, and then Terry Orr gets quite a reception there.
3rd down and 9 for Texas from the 42. Split backfield. Dodge another catch. Calvin Riggs, number 35, the sophomore out of Midland, Texas. And that gets them going here at Jones Stadium.
Talking to the Tech coaches, as you can see here, he starts Chilton upfield and then comes underneath. Just a great job of getting the guy Chilton going upfield. And talking to Tech coaches, he undersized, great quickness, and an overachiever, a real hard-working football player.
Bruce Parkins back deep for Tech. That's John Telchik. He'll be punting inside his 20-yard line. He holds the ball for a little while, checks it out. He kicks a line drive. Parkins has trouble with it. He gets it, and good break there for Texas Tech. He looked like he was on Gerald Meyer's basketball team. He dribbled it a couple of times, and luckily the ball came up for him, Ray. A big break there.
Freshman, as I said earlier, freshman walk-on from Lubbock Coronado. He took a good hop, then he juggled it a little bit more, and then he gains 5 yards through the air. That's, again, I'll take a little bit of those good things happening to you. 44-yard punt by Telchik, a 6-yard return by Perkins. Boy, that'll give you heart failure if you're a head coach on the sideline. Especially 10-7 lead.
Aaron Cassee hands off. No, he's going to keep it on the option as he gets across the 30 to the 33. That time he made a good fake to Freddie Wells. Ralph Darnell, however, was not fooled by Texas.
Bill, Texas playing a lot of man coverage, and Tech runs the option, and the wide receivers run off, and the two corners turn and just run with them. If they ever pitch the ball outside and execute it and get it turned upfield, they're going to have a big play.
Lemuel Stinson flanked out to the left. Troy Smith to the right for the Red Raiders. High formation, 2nd down and 6. Hand off to Timmy Smith. That time he ran into Ty Allert, John Hagee.
Just a cross sweep. Has not been a good play for him today. They faked the fullback going to his left and hand the ball to the tailback coming back to right with the off guard pulling. It just hadn't worked very well. Jim Moore stuffed it pretty well then.
Passing down 3rd and 6. Tony Tillman checks in as the 5th defensive back for Texas. Down the line option for Cassee, and he pitches it out of bounds, intended for Timmy Smith. Unfortunately for Texas Tech, that ball took a Tech bounce and went out of bounds. Had it stayed in bounds, it could have been trouble.
Texas is a 5 defensive back, a nickel scheme, and running people off. Pitch a ball. If they get it executed, they might have had a play. It's hard to see on the replay there turn up, but you talk about make your hair turn gray. Pitch that thing with a 10-7 lead.
Dennis Vance now inside the 15-yard line. Rob Morshell this time back deep for Texas. I believe Fred Akers has used 4 different punt return men in this game. And look at that high punt into the wind. Felt the up man, fumbles it. Tech says they have it. Let's see. Felt fumble the ball, but he was awfully close to it. He could have recovered it himself. Let's wait and see who won the battle. Tech says the Red Raiders have it. The umpire, however, says Texas has it. Let's see it again. Boy, this is awfully close.
Bill, I tell you, the wind has got to be playing tricks on the football at both ends of the field. The return people are having too much trouble catching it.
You know, the up man in the Cotton Bowl bobbled one like that against Georgia, if you'll remember, on January the 2nd. And that created a lot of grief for the University of Texas as they were trying to become the national champion.
I tell you, Bill, there's right at 3:54 left in the quarter with the wind. Texas, I would think, is going to put the ball up and try to hit a big play here with the wind.
That time the handoff was to a new running back, Michael Brown, number 27. Scott Davis was in there for Texas Tech.
Many more hits like that, and Michael will be asking for Kevin again.
So we see Michael Brown for the first time in this game for the University of Texas. In fact, in quite a while, for that matter. Michael is a 5'11", 195-pound senior out of Dallas Lake Highlands, who played quite a bit last year. Now he goes out of the game, and he's replaced again by Kevin Nelson. Terry Orr at the front of the eye. 2nd down and 9 for the Longhorns. Bill Boy Bryant in motion. Dodge rolling right. He's got some running room if he wants it. He takes it across the 40 to about the 42, where he's hog-tied by Mike Kinsey.
You know, Bill, the last 2 times they put Rob Marshall in, they've run the sprint out. I assume because they think he's a more effective blocker than Kevin Nelson is. Might be a key to something coming up later on, though. Again, as we said earlier, he's an ex-quarterback capable of throwing an option pass.
3rd down and 1. Texas needs to get to about the 44-yard line. Texas Tech with 8 players up on the line of scrimmage. Just power to Terry Orr, and he tries to find some running room behind John Stewart, Brian Chester, and Terry Steelhammer. We'll find out in a moment if he got it. Brad White, Ronald Byers were right in there. Texas that time just trying to use Stewart at 280, Chester at 262, and Steelhammer at 254 to try to plow 1 yard out of the defense for Texas Tech.
We've got 28 officials out here right at this point. Everybody's got a better idea.
Well, it's going to be shy. How many of those have we had today? 4 or 5 measurements?
A whole bunch.
Well, and Fred Akers is going to punt it away. You don't want to give it to Tech at midfield. Already Texas has survived 4 first-half turnovers and a couple of near misses here in the second half. So John Telchik will punt it away. Fred Akers preferring that field position, hoping that Texas Tech can make the mistake. Telchik inside his 30-yard line. Bruce Perkins, the freshman, back on about his 10.
Bill, the Tech defense has picked the Tech crowd up a little bit with that stand.
Telchik with a low line drive that hits it to 20. They're going to let it go. Tech is, and it just gets into the end zone.
They mowed the AstroTurf properly there.
That was close. A 58-yard punt by John Telchik. Austin will be the site of the NCAA Track and Field Championships also in 1985. The championship event will be held at the UT campus May 28th through June the 1st. The nation's finest collegiate tracksters will be on display at Memorial Stadium, including the Southwest Conference best like steeplechaser Patrick Sang and Texas high jumper James Lott. That is the NCAA Track and Field Championships at Austin, May 28th through June the 1st. 1st and 10 now for the Red Raiders at their own 20-yard line. Flip back to Timmy Smith. Smith running room, 35, 36-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds by David Fulbright. But a 16-yard run by Timmy Smith and a Texas Tech first down.
I tell you, that was real good ball carrying. Just excellent ball carrying.
That time some good blocks on the outside, too, especially by Freddie Wells as he got a block out front.
See how strong he is in the lower body at that point. Ooh, there's a face mask, possibly.
Oh, I think he got the jersey that time. 1st down and 10.
Apparently so. It wasn't called.
Again, into the middle by Timmy Smith. A gain of about 2. Tony Edwards was there to meet him. And when Tony's there to meet you, you usually stop.
With he and the great, well, the size of that whole defensive front 7, they're very impressive, and they can all run.
1:40 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Texas Tech holding on to a slim 10-7 lead over Texas.
I don't imagine Tech's going to be in too big a hurry. The worst could happen, the clock run out, and they punt with the wind.
2nd down and 9. Hand off to the up man, Freddie Wells, who squirms his way to about the 43. June James, the first man in for the Longhorns. Texas Tech has had some success with that quick hitter, using Wells up the middle. Usually with a good team, a good pursuit team like Texas, that play will pop you a few times, won't it?
Well, they run the option well enough with Cacique carrying the ball outside. He's only pitched it once, and he pitched it away, but he's run the ball enough outside with the option look to hold them honest.
3rd down and 4 for the Red Raiders. Pitch back to Timmy Smith, and boy, he is ground by Ty Allard. Bulldogged him down inside the 40-yard line.
If Tech will be alert now, they'll be able, possibly, if he doesn't mark the football, he's marked it right. Now they can run the clock out and not have to punt into the wind. Unless Texas uses a timeout. He doesn't want the ball snapped. Vance is trying to tell him not to snap the football.
That's what he went up. Vance just told his center, don't snap it.
They'll have it.
Rob Morshell wants to call a timeout now with 8 seconds, and they're going to get it. Texas wanted to call a timeout. They do.
The Texas coaches were going crazy, couldn't get anybody's attention. A good call. Now they got to punt into the wind.
They finally got Michael Felt's attention, and he ran up to the referee and signaled timeout. 8 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter, so that will force Dennis Vance to kick into the wind. However, he hasn't done a real bad job of doing that.
No, both punters have done a good job of punting the football considering the wind.
You know, though, Ray, that leaves Texas now with only 1 timeout.
Yeah, but I tell you, this could be an important play in terms of field position.
Boy, the wheels are grinding on both sides of the field. Jerry Moore, who has been under some pretty good coaches, played under John Bridgers, and then he coached under Hayden Fry along with Bum Phillips. Then he went to become offensive coordinator under Tom Osborne at Nebraska, so he's been under some pretty good football minds in his tenure. And, of course, Fred Akers under those many years with Darrell Royal. And being associated with Frank Broyles hasn't been in shabby company either.
Yeah, they're 2 good football coaches. And their teams, as you can see by this game, reflect the coaching ability of these 2 men and their staff.
All right, time is in. Vance will be kicking from inside his 25. Felt and Morshell back deep. Good kick by Vance, good and high. Felt calling for the fair catch, and he's got it at the Texas 26-yard line.
Flag down, Bill.
A punt of 36 yards by Dennis Vance.
It's a penalty against Texas.
Well, that's a killer of a penalty too, Ray, because you used a timeout to try to get some semblance of field position. There's no time left now on the scoreboard clock. So we're heading down to the other end of the field, and when we do, Texas will be penalized. Let's see what Frank Shepard says. Holding against the Longhorns.
Is a dead ball foul if I read his signal right, which would make it 1st and 15. I believe he had his hand open.
Well, we'll find out in a moment, but first we'll take this break and stay with us for the exciting 15-minute conclusion to this football game. Texas Tech leading Texas by 3. This is Home Sports Entertainment.
Set. Foul. Foul off left. Hunt.
Bill Worrell, along with Ray Auburn from Jones Stadium. We don't pay you all those big bucks to be the analyst here in this game to figure that one out. You were right. Dead ball foul. It's 1st and 15 now for Texas.
Oh, you got to know the signals, baby.
From the 21-yard line.
I've seen a bunch of those.
Hand off to Terry Orr, straight ahead for a couple. Scott Davis, along with Calvin Riggs, on the tackle for the Red Raiders.
Terry Steelhammer came off the football then and blocked Brad White, turned him all the way around. He really came off football, exploded. And they were able to pick up enough yards in there to give them a little bit of a gain.
Michael Brown was in the I formation. He is out. Rob Morshell has taken his place. Split backfield now for the Longhorns. 2nd down and 7. Dodge looking for some time to throw, and is it intercepted? Yes! Texas Tech has it at the 45-yard line. Carl Carter was the man of the hour for the Red Raiders.
Probably a pass, Bill. It should not have been thrown. Again, somebody's got him around the waist, as you can see there, and he delivers a football. You know, you're trying to make something happen, which is admirable.
Tim Crawford and Dwayne Giles were the two men really putting the heat on Todd Dodge. And, you know, he really hasn't had much time to do anything.
No, and as we mentioned in the show before the game, that pressure was going to be the key for Tech's secondary.
Two wide receivers, Troy Smith, Charles Simpson, out wide to the right. I formation for Tech. It's going to be a sweep. Going to Timmy Smith. And he gets across inside the 45, about the 43. Tony Edwards, the first man to him. Lemuel Stinson now checking in for Texas Tech, along with James McGowan, and Timmy Smith will come out of the lineup. So you'll have Freddie Wells and McGowan in the backfield. 2nd down, 7 for the Red Raiders at the Texas 43-yard line. 13:45 left to play in the game. Tech holding on to a tight 10-7 lead. McGowan straight ahead power, and boy, you could hear the helmets clash all the way up here.
Brought the strong safety Braggs. That time Tech went twins away from it with a nice set, and they brought the strong safety. He was involved in the hit.
James McKinney that time, and McGowan. So far in the game, we've had 5 turnovers now for Texas. That's the 2nd interception for Dodge, 3 fumbles. And Texas still hanging tough, only 3 down, but the Red Raiders trying to do something about it. Cassee rolling right. It's got a man open, and it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Ty Allert. Boy, what a fine job by that junior out of Houston Northbrook. 6'3", 233. And so 3 downs and punt. 3 downs and punt. We've seen it on both sides of the football.
Excellent job by the Texas defense there, Bill, of bowing their neck after Tech had a big play. Should probably be backed up and not have great field position, but kept Tech off the board.
Ray, of course, all the great football coaches down through the years have said, if you don't have a defense, that's the heart and soul of your football team. I believe Bear Bryant said if you can hold them to 0, at least you can get a tie out of it. Great kick that time by Vance.
Got a roughing call.
And there is a roughing the punter back on the 45. Gerald Senegal came roughing Dennis Vance. Tech would have it on the 4 anyway, and Texas Tech will keep the football. Another major mistake by Texas.
You see him coming from the outside. What actually happens is his own man knocks him into him.
They collided right there at the point. And it'll be a major one. All the way down inside the 30 to the Texas 27-yard line. Let's listen to Frank Shepard. That's the 6th penalty now of the game for Texas, adding up to 65 yards.
Bill, that could have been a bust in the Texas front, but both guys coming from opposite sides and knocked them into him. Oh, usually you come from one side or the other on the punt block.
Cassee going right to the air. He's going for the bomb. Going for 6. Intended for Sampson. It's intercepted by Texas in the end zone. That's number 11, Tony Tillman. A sophomore out of Borger, Texas, and that Texas defense hangs tough.
Straight drop back pass. They bring in the strong safety. You can see the pressure there from Braggs. Texas opted to go with a lot of heat. One man-on-man coverage. Just a good job by Tillman. Ball's thrown inside. Great play.
Excellent position, wasn't he?
Super. He couldn't have been in better shape. And the receiver read the blitz and adjusted the route.
You're looking at some great defensive backs for Texas, and their sophomores. The only senior back there is Jerry Gray. We might remind you that he was kicked out of the game right before the first half ended. For unsportsmanlike conduct, he delivered an elbow to a Texas Tech player's face and was escorted off the field by the officials. He has not seen any action, of course, here in the second half. He's been replaced by David Fulbright. So that leaves the cornerback duties and the rest of defensive duties to sophomores and freshmen for Texas. Well, another personal foul penalty called on Texas, so that'll back the Longhorns up to the 10-yard line.
Got to keep your composure, Bill, and that's tough to do. People say, "Oh, that's ridiculous." I tell you, kids in the heat of battle, a lot of intensity, and it's just very, very difficult to do. And it's something they've got to learn, something this game teaches them.
Terry Orr, the lone setback. Texas. Dodge wants to throw. He's got it for Bill Boy Bryant. He fumbles, and it's recovered by Tech. At the 25, Mike Kinsey. Oh my, Fred Akers must be wondering what's going on out there. The 6th turnover for the University of Texas, and the Longhorns just keep giving the ball back to the Red Raiders.
One-back offense. This is a good job by Bill Boy Bryant of catching the ball. There's a hand inside. Right there. Good concentration.
I don't think he even had it knocked out. He just lost control.
He just lost it, yeah.
High formation for the Red Raiders. Hand off to the I-back. Blake Bronner and Bill Hefcock along with Tony Edwards. That time caught Timmy Smith for a loss of maybe 1 or 2 on the play. The Texas defense has just been outstanding today, and of course so has the Texas Tech defense, as evidenced by the 10-7 score. Tech holding on to a 3-point lead, but now they're down. Where if they can get about 5 more yards, Ray, they can turn it over to Ricky Gann, because the clock is becoming a big enemy for Texas. Down to 12 minutes left. Timmy Smith again caught in the backfield.
Obviously, they would like to get 7 and make 2 scores a necessity to win. 3 would put them out of field goal range for a tie.
Well, it's going to bring up 3rd down and 11 now for Texas Tech. Checking into the game, Troy Smith for Texas Tech, along with Lemuel Stinson. So you've got 2 wide receivers.
Tony Griffin's in for Texas. They've gone with their nickel package. Edwards is out.
Smith Wells in the backfield. Aaron Cassee, the freshman quarterback, at the controls. Quarterback sneak inside the 20 to about the 18. It almost broke for a big gainer, but it got Texas Tech the necessary 5 yards they wanted. That time Texas was coming on the big rush.
Well, I tell you, a lot of times in the nickel situation where you put 5 defensive backs in and take a linebacker out, people will try to run on you because you've eliminated one of you, especially in Texas' case, taking Tony Edwards out of the football game.
Ricky Gann already has 1 field goal in this game, and this would put Texas Tech up by 6 from the 26-yard line, 27. It'll be a 37-yard attempt. It's up, and it's no good. Off to the left. And the Texas defense holds one more time.
Remember 2 years ago, he was in about that same position with 23 seconds left, and he kicked it right smooth down the middle.
You always remember those, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, there's 10:38 left to play in this football game. Texas Tech still leading Texas by 10-7. But the Longhorns have to have a psychological lift right here, because a 6-point lead would have forced Texas into going the length of the field to score, something that Tech has allowed them to do only 1 time.
Got Marshall in. They've sprinted now the last 2 times he's been in at tailback and thrown the ball.
Todd Dodge going again to Bill Boy Bryant. This time he threw it over to the Texas Tech bench, and a nice catch by Rusty Rourke over there. Leonard Jones, the Rover, was covering. You know, Ray, on that pass pattern, William Harris broke over the middle, and he was wide open for Texas. I wonder if he comes back to the huddle and he says anything to Todd Dodge.
I'm sure the guys upstairs saw, but I tell you, Bill, that's 2 plays in a row now that Texas has come to their right trying to get the ball to Bill Boy Bryant on Tech's left side.
Another thing, too, to get William Harris open, you've got to have some time back there. And so far, Tech has not been giving Dodge much time. 2nd down and 10 from the 20. Straight drop back. Gets it out to Harris at the 30, about the 31-yard line. An 11-yard gain. Brad Hastings on the tackle, but Texas with a 1st down.
That's a good job by William Harris to show you kind of athlete he is. The ball was not thrown very well, and good job of going up and catching it.
6'5", 235. A sophomore out of Smiley, and he runs a 4.6 40. That's pretty good athletic ability, I'd say. Harris came in the leading receiver for Texas with 21 catches for 396 yards. Make that 22 now. And he had that big 84-yarder against Penn State. Terry Orr searches for yardage, finds a little over left guard across the 35 to the 37. Carl Carter and Brad Hastings along with Artis Jackson on the tackle.
Texas put Bryan and Duhan to the wide side of the field and walked Marshall from tailback up to a wingback, leaving a one-back set and handing the ball to Orr. Possibly getting an adjustment out of Tech to throw the ball a little bit later on. Should be a one-back set this time with Kelvin Epps in.
2nd down and 6 for Texas. Got the scramble, big rush by Tech. And Wayne Dawson grabs him at about the 32-yard line. The Red Raiders are not giving Texas any time to look for a secondary receiver. That time Dodge tried to scramble out of harm's way, and Dawson wouldn't let him. That time a real battle going on between Brian Chester and Artis Jackson. Jackson weighing 300 pounds, Chester at 262. Wow.
Well, I tell you, Artis Jackson's played very well today for Tech.
3rd down and 10 for the Longhorns, and jumping off sides is John Stewart. Five more yards. It's amazing. Texas, with all of these penalties, Ray, losing their #1 player in Jerry Gray, having 6 turnovers in the game, only trailing by 3 points.
And I tell you, from Jerry Moore's side of it, I'm sure he's very aware. A lot of times you have all these things happen and you're not able to take advantage of them, and all of a sudden you end up fighting for your life.
Texas right now fighting for its life. 8:46, 8:45. Now the scoreboard becomes an enemy of the Longhorns. 3rd and 15. Throwing it up here for Brent Duhan, and he had him open for a moment at the 45-yard line and underthrew him. Carl Carter was the man there for Texas Tech. And the Red Raiders hold, and listen to this Jones Stadium crowd. Tell you what you did. You sent Jerry Moore some pretty good coaches from Rice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell you, old Spike Dykey was on the Texas staff for a long time. Spike's a good one.
Telchik kicking from his 15. Look at him turn the ball over, and he drives Perkins all the way back to the 22-yard line. Another booming kick by John Telchik of 50 yards. 8:28 left to play. Tech leading by 3. We'll be back in a moment. This is Home Sports Entertainment.
This Bud's for everyone who scrapes it, sprays it, and lays it on smooth.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
Texas Tech now on its own 23-yard line. Now what you want, Ray Auburn, is a good long drive to eat up some of that clock. 8:28 left to play.
First downs.
Hand off to Timmy Smith over left guard for a gain of about 3 across the 25 to about maybe the 26.
That's just a good hard-nosed football play, off tackle, double down, kick out.
Somebody's hurt there coming off the field for Texas Tech. Maybe Joe Walter, I'm not sure.
Mike McBride, I think.
Is it?
Bill? Yeah.
High formation, 2nd and 7. Hand off to the up man. That's Freddie Wells, who's about the 28-yard line. So another gain of 3. Not fancy, but you've had 2 carries now for a gain of about 6, and that gives them a good shot at 3rd and short here.
Obviously a big down. I'm not sure Tech will bring the ball out on the option. There might be a good play if they can get it executed, but I'm not sure they'll do that.
2 wide Simpson wide to the left, Troy Smith to the right. High formation. This time on the draw play, Cassie across the 30 to the 32, but I think he's going to be about a yard shy of the needed first down, and Dennis Vance trots on the field. That time Blake Bronner did a good job of almost overrunning the play, but catching back up to it.
Again, they faked the fullback after having handed the ball to him, running some option, and then Cassie comes back away from the flow. A good job of diagnosing the play, keep him from getting the first down.
An amazing statistic just shown me, Ray Auburn. Tech now is 3 of 19 in 3rd down conversions. So that shows you how tough the Texas defense has been. Marshall all the way back to his 20.
There's a lane, there was a clip, and they didn't get it.
Cuts it up the field to the 30-yard line. So Marshall almost found that lane for a lot more running room, but he did return it 12 yards. That was a punt of 49 yards with about an 11-yard return.
Bill, you know something that everybody takes for granted is that old boy that snaps that ball between his legs, sees the world upside down, 14, 15 yards with a guy 260 on his nose. And I have great admiration for those guys, and that's an art. It's something that people just take for granted.
Praise
the ball's going to get back.
Praise them all you want to. That was my job.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Oh well.
You could just hear that big guy. You couldn't see him, but you could hear him moving around in front of you. Okay, now 6:35 left to play. It's up to Todd Dodge. Try to get some points for Texas. He's out here. Intended for Kelvin Epps. Dwayne Giles defending for Texas Tech, and Epps almost had it. Epps has all the speed for Texas. He's a 4.5 man.
And they got him isolated on the backer.
Coming into the game now, Russell Hayes also checks in for Texas in place of Epps. So Bill Boy Bryant will come out to the right. Russell Hayes in place of Brent Duhan to the left. Split backfield, Texas, 2nd down and 10. Dodge having to scramble again for his life. He looks across the middle. What a great job that time Bill Boy Bryant did of coming back to the football. First down, Texas.
I tell you, you're right, Bill. This is an excellent job of breaking the route and coming back to football. And again, Todd Dodge is under a great deal of pressure. And he throws the ball just as he gets hit. And Bill Boy Bryant does a great job, as we said, of coming back to the football. Breaking the route and coming back.
First down and 10. 6:11, 6:10 left in the game. Texas trailing by 3 points. Dodge going for the alley-oop pass to Brent Duhan, and it was covered well at the 35-yard line. Carl Carter with help from Roland Mitchell, Merv Skurlark, all over there helping out.
It's 2 pretty good secondaries. They are both playing very well.
We'd like to welcome all of our new viewers in the Lubbock area and Amarillo as well as San Antonio joining us on this entertaining football game from Jones Stadium in Lubbock, Texas, here on the HSE Football Network. Home sports entertainment. Your ticket for excitement in your home, sports activity year-round. 6:03 left to play. 2nd down and 10. Dodge with plenty of time. Looks for Duhan. He's got him at the 35. 15-yard gain, 1st and 10 for Texas. Merv Skurlark, the tackler for Texas Tech. But now, Dodge seems to be getting more time in that pocket.
There's not the pressure on him here. Good route by Duhan, and I tell you, he took a hit from Skurlock. It's good concentration to hang on to the football.
Another thing that Tech is allowing Dodge to do is to step up there and plant that foot, and he's really drilling that football. Bill Boy Bryant comes wide to the right.
They just checked Larry Mathis in, number 96 for Texas Tech. He's an excellent pass rusher. He's been alternating right and left end.
1st and 10. The ball on the Tech 35-yard line. Dodge looking for Russell Hayes. He's got him at the 22, 20, down to the 15 goes Russell Hayes out of San Antonio, Texas. A first down, Texas. Merv Skurlark made the tackle, but that time the little water bug from San Antonio, 6 foot, 187, backup receiver Russell Hayes did a good job of coming back. And look at Dodge, looked him off.
Bill, you can't see it on the screen, but that was an excellent route by Hayes. Excellent route.
I know his daddy, Denny Hayes, is awfully proud of him on that play. 1st and 10, the ball on the Tech 15-yard line. Handoff to Terry Orr, a gain of about 3 to the 12.
Bill, the formation they've used, a tight end in motion.
What a big, big drive this is for Texas, because if the Longhorns can get it in, then Texas Tech is looking at a 4-point deficit and not much time left to get it in the end zone. 4:50 left to play in the game.
Obviously, Texas would like to eat as much of the clock up as they can and get 7 points on the board.
Dodge rolling to his right. He's got running room if he wants it. He's going to throw it. He's got a touchdown. Or is he out of bounds? He's out of bounds. Bill Boy Bryant was standing there. Leonard Jones was watching the play. Dodge could have run this one in, Ray Auburn.
Right.
He had 15 yards to the goal line, but he saw Bill Boy Bryant.
Yeah, Bill, you can't. We couldn't pick it up on the screen. But I tell you what happens. They had a lineman out in front of him. All he's got to do is make a go call, and they take off and run the ball in.
I'll tell you, the worst that could have happened, he could have been tackled on about the 1 or the 2 had Leonard Jones reacted fast enough. So it brings up a big, big play. 3rd down and 7 from the 12. Everybody in Jones Stadium on their feet. Rolling right. This time he is going to keep it. He gets a block. And he's down to the 4-yard line. And he's got a Texas first down, I do believe. Well, the coaches upstairs, Ray Auburn, saw the same thing we did. They saw all of that green AstroTurf the last play.
Right. Good block by Rob Marshall there, cracking back. They pulled the onside guard and got the fullback out in front of a one-back set. As you say, the coaches upstairs saw it and they came back and ran the football.
I think Dodge was a little shaken up on the play. As you see him limping around, he lost his left sock, but he knew where that first down marker was, and he dove for it at about the 4. It'll be placed at the 3-yard line. And it'll be 1st and goal from the 3 with 4:21 left to play. Mike Kinsey shaken up on the play. What a game Mike Kinsey has had today. 6'2", 226 out of Brownwood.
Both defenses played extremely well.
They really have.
Been a really, really good defensive football game.
All right, here comes the power look for Texas. Jerome Johnson in the game. Going out are the wide receivers.
Jenkins and Harris are both in.
Terry Orr and Jerome Johnson in the backfield. Split backfield for Texas. 1st and goal from the Texas Tech 3. Hand off to Orr, and Texas Tech really had that one smothered. Carl Carter did a good job that time of coming up and filling the gap. That hasn't worked for Texas, though, Ray, the last couple of times.
No, they've gone wing or strong to their right and then run the ball back to the left side and haven't been able to make any yardage.
Okay, what's the call by Fred Akers now? 2nd down.
Maybe a bootleg gets away in a pass off of that same play fake.
Goal to go from the 6. It's time, a handoff again to Johnson. And he gets back down to the original line of scrimmage at about the 3-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and goal to go from the 3. Rusty Rourke, Larry Mathis on the tackle for Texas Tech. So what do you do here? You want to take a chance, take 2 downs to try to run it in?
That's somebody else's decision.
Already with 1 tie this year, does Texas have? Artis Jackson is now checked into the game along with Ronald Byers, Brad White, Wayne Dawson. Big play. 3rd and 3. Dodge throwing it up for his big tight end, and does he catch it? No! William Harris tried to make the reception on his back.
Got a flag down up in the end zone, Bill.
Merv Skurlark did a good job that time of knocking the ball in the air, and I believe the call is against Texas. Holding against the Longhorns. Well, Texas Tech's going to move it back. They're motioning like they want to take that penalty, and they will. The only problem here, Ray, is it's only a 5-yarder.
Oh, the 25-second clock must have run out.
Oh, had it? I thought he was calling holding.
He got the delay of the game, so that's going to make it maintain the 3rd down. Coach Akers is hollering about something.
Well, you know, that may have been a break for Texas then. Stays at 3rd down. The scoreboard says 4th down and 8.
There it goes, back to 3rd.
Now it's back to 3rd. What I was going to say, though, that with the incompletion that time, it would have brought up a 4th down.
Right.
So Texas may inadvertently received a break there by the call.
There's Larry Mathis coming
Larry
back.
Mathis, number 96, checks in place of David Beaudry. 3rd down and goal from the 8-yard line. Last gasp attempt for Texas. They throws it up for grabs. Billboy Bryant tried to come back and make the catch, but a great job that time. I believe that was
Roland Mitchell,
Roland Mitchell and Leonard Jones back there. I believe Everett also was in there.
Eric Everett. I tell you, Bill, you remember the Arkansas game? They threw the fade route, which they just threw then several times. It's a good job of the Tech coaches preparing their players for that eventuality, and a good job by Eric Everett.
So now Jeff Ward will attempt a field goal from the 15-yard line. Tack on 10 more, a 25-yard attempt to tie this game with 2:17 left to play. It's up and it's good, and we've got a kiss your sister type of a situation, a tie football game at 2:14. Texas Tech 10 and Texas 10.
It's a good job by the Tech defense, Bill. Bowing their neck when they had to.
Well, Fred Akers really had no choice. As Ray Auburn, he's got to go for the tie rather than the loss.
Yeah, with the conference situation the way it is.
Well, TCU won today. That's right, over Houston, 21-14. So the big battle looms large now in Fort Worth in 2 weeks. TCU plays Texas Tech. Texas Tech is 2-2 in the conference race. TCU is now 4-1 in the conference race, and in 2 weeks we'll play Texas in Fort Worth.
Bill, Tech has 3 timeouts with 2:14 left and to win, so there's plenty of time to get the ball in position for Ricky Gann to win the thing.
We could see a ferocious drive here by Texas Tech. So hang on for quite a finish. I think we're going to have one. You're watching this on Home Sports Entertainment. There's the story for you right there.
It's going to be important that Aaron Cassee maintain his composure. A lot of things are being going through his mind right now, sitting on the bench waiting for this kickoff.
Jeff Ward will kick it off from the 40, and it's a little chip shot, and it went out of bounds at the 32-yard line. That was almost a pretty nifty call there, because the University of Texas had James Lott, one of their quicker players, going down underneath the kick, and he almost, had that ball stayed in, he might have caught it on the fly.
Right, he called a fair catch. Called for a fair catch and then didn't go over there. That would have scared me a little bit. I'd have been willing to help him.
Well, Texas is going back, but Texas, they want the ball right there, and that's their option.
Right.
So it's great field position for Texas Tech. And here we go.
Oh, the Tech coaches are trying to get him up to the line of scrimmage to get a play run.
Because the Texas defense is not set up out there yet. Here comes Texas Tech. Troy Smith to the right. I formation, 2:14 left to play. Tech will have to go 70 yards. Or somewhere in that vicinity, and Lott almost could have picked it off as he could have gone for a lot of daylight. James Lott that time, the pass intended for Troy Smith.
That'll cause your hair to turn gray in just 3 seconds.
You know, Ray, he was just going for the knockdown.
Right. Better be alert for the out and up, though, breaking on the ball that quick on the out cut. Took about 6 seconds off the clock, so they have plenty of time.
Actually, with the wind to their backs, they really only need to go about, 25, 30 yards.
Yeah, with his foot.
With Gann's leg. Here's a draw play. And it's not going to gain much, about 3. Ty Allert was there. He and Tony Edwards don't get fooled very much. And that time, Timmy Smith thought he had a little running room. But the hole closed quickly.
I'm sure that Coach Akerston would like to call timeout here, but only having 1 left. They're going to have some field position in order to get Jeff Ward to be able to try to win the ball game.
1:40 left. 2nd down and 8. Aaron Cassee. He's being smothered by, guess who? Tony DeGreat, number 99, the All-American out of Snyder, Texas. Well, when you need a big play, he's always there. And Texas immediately calls a timeout to stop the clock at 1:27. So the Longhorns, with no timeouts left, will get the punt. So it'll be up to Dennis Vance now, if you're a Texas Tech fan, to punt that thing deep.
Again, what we were talking about, the snap, catch it, get the ball off, block well up front, and then cover like crazy.
Now, Ray, Texas has come close to blocking a couple of Vance's punts already today.
Several times. In fact, the first 2 times they punted, they came after it and nearly blocked it. And then they came after it in what I think was a bust somewhere up front, and they knocked each other into it to get the roughing call. But 2 theories here, obviously. 1, you go block it. 2, you set the wall up and try to get a good return. They've got Marshall back here, so I'm assuming they want to make sure they get the ball fielded and get it as far upfield as they can, and then take the football down and try to get Ward in position to get a field goal.
There you saw Rob, and there's Dennis Vance standing inside his 10-yard line. So he'll punt it from around the 13.
I would say, just looking at their alignment, it's going to be a return to set up a wall. We've got some movement.
Movement by Tech. And it looked like it might have been James Johnson. Well, back it up 5 more yards. This is where there's a lot of pressure on a punter to get away a good punt. That'll back Vance up now inside his 5. 1:27 left. Tech and Texas tied at 10 apiece.
Again, I think Texas is going to go to set the wall and return.
This time, not a very good punt. Morshell coming in on it, and he's got it at about the 45-yard line. Great field position for Texas. He almost fumbled the football, but he held on. Had he been able to field it on the run, Ray, he might have made 5 or 10 more yards.
Yeah, the ball, kicking with the wind, the ball's not kicked that well. He had a chance to catch it on the run and make 8, 10 more yards up the field.
Not as good a punt as Dennis Vance wanted, and now Texas has 1:19, no timeouts. And remember, Jeff Ward has a heck of a leg, too, so Texas doesn't have to go that far to get him ready for field goal range.
Exactly, and here's where the experience of Todd Dodge will pay off. The composure in a situation like this.
Rolling right, he's looking for, I believe it was Marshall. Dwayne Giles was all over him. Good pressure that time by Brad White, number 74. David Beaudry is in the game.
You know, in these situations here, Bill, the fans always, if you drop and cover everybody, they want you to rush. If you rush everybody and you don't cover, then they want you to cover. There's a fine line here. Everybody's philosophy is different in these 2-minute situations.
Watch Kelvin Epps. He's got speed. He's on the left side. They're throwing to the big tight end, William Harris. And he's got it at the 30-yard line for Texas. And now the Longhorns will have to stop the clock to move the chains, but look at the big guy get open. A gain of 20.
He's been sort of silent today till they needed the big play, and he came up with it.
Boy, he went off and left Rusty Rourke, didn't he? A 31-yard pass and run play. Now the clock starts. 105, 104 from the 32, and throwing it out of bounds. Well, Brent Duhan turned around, and there was the ball right in his helmet. Carl Carter was in the vicinity.
I tell you, old Jeff Ward's got to have a few things running through his mind right at this point.
I think, though, Ray, what Texas needs is about, wouldn't you say, 5 or 6 more yards to get him comfortably within his range, because the wind has died down a little bit now. It's not as, the flags aren't blowing quite as hard as they were at the start of the game.
Yeah, they look to be blowing more across the field than they were before, which could have a bearing on a guy who's not kicked in his stadium that much. I'd say they would ideally like to get at least 10 closer, but that may not happen. They're going to run the football.
Right. If they'll get some blockers out, he's got some room to run, and he runs out of bounds at the 25-yard line of Texas Tech. Todd Dodge needed 1 block down there. He could have made 10 or 15 more. 55 seconds. He only ran off 6 seconds on the clock on that play.
Bill, you know, you get those linemen out in front of you, and if with as much noise and excitement as there is, if you don't have a call, and I'm sure they do, to alert them the fact that you're running, they end up with 2 big guys running out there to look good, and they're not much help to you.
Boy, Ray, how quickly the game can change. Texas Tech now calls a timeout. The defense looks a little tired over there.
I think it's a good call, Bill. Let's stop Texas momentum. Give our kids a chance to gather up. The coaches get them over and talk to them. Any particular things that they, based on scouting report, based on past information that they anticipate out of Texas at this point.
Well, it's a real credit to Fred Akers and his staff and his football team that with all of the things that they have done wrong today, 6 turnovers, numerous mistakes, numerous penalties, they have been able to stay in this football game. And a credit has to go to that man, Jerry Moore, and his staff for an excellent coaching job today and a great defense for Jerry and the guys. And they had the lead, and they just haven't been able to hold on to it as it's 10-10 now. And how quickly things change in football. Just a moment ago, we were talking about Tech moving down the field to score possibly the winner. But a short punt, and now Texas is back down on the Tech 25-yard line.
I'll tell you, both staffs have done a good job. Texas has not been one of their better football games, but they've done a good job of their guys hanging in there. And Texas Tech obviously came to play.
3rd down and 4. He's going to roll left. He's got to get out of bounds now to stop the clock, and he gets down to the 22-yard line. That's going to be enough, I believe, for a Texas first down. Calvin Riggs ran Todd Dodge out of bounds.
Well, this is run all the way. There's no pass. In fact, see the backside number 78. Stewart pulls and he turns backside to block on 96. The confusion being that they wasted. It was a great play out there by Calvin Riggs. 3 Texas guys tried to block Calvin Riggs, and he played him off. Now, I've been really impressed with the way that kid's played today. Really played well.
47 seconds left to play. Texas, remember, has no timeouts left. So what's very important is when they run this play, the clock will continue to run. It's going to be a handoff. Holding on to the football is Rob Morshell. He fumbles it, but there's a Texas man right there. One of the big offensive linemen. Let's see who it is. Number 78, John Stewart, is the man of the hour. Now Texas has to throw it out of bounds to try to stop the clock. 35 seconds, 34 seconds. Down to 30 seconds. Dodge making sure everybody hears the signals.
That's some movement up in the line.
Movement in the line, and Texas is backing up. It looks like it'll be, yes, that's what it is.
Bill, I don't know why Todd Dodge took the snap and fell down. They have no timeouts left. They keep the clock running if they don't get a penalty, and they are, they're in a mad scramble to get the field goal off.
I think I'd run Jeff Ward in there right now and not worry about it.
Here he comes right now.
Well, now there's a little confusion on that sideline. And Ward is running in now. The clock is running. 17 16, 15 seconds. It'll be from the 25. Count 10. A 35-yard field goal. One of the biggest in this young man's career. 7 seconds left. Ward, it's up. It's good. Jeff Ward with an apparent game-winning field goal with only 3 seconds left on the scoreboard clock. Oh, what pressure.
I tell you, that's just a very, very tough way to lose a football game. I sympathize with Jerry Moore and his staff, and it's a great credit to the Texas team. They didn't play very well, and apparently they're going to win a football game.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's a tough for that team right there. The Red Raiders fought their heart out all afternoon and deserved possibly a better fate.
You know, Bill, the worst thing is to go in the dressing room and face those kids. It's very difficult to, what do you say to a bunch of kids that fight their tail off like that and come up 3 seconds short?
Jeff Ward now, Ray Auburn, is 23 of 26 in his career at the University of Texas, and he has made some big, big field goals. Remember the one at Oklahoma in a driving rainstorm for a tie there. He's made 2 pressure field goals in this game. Everybody should have walk-ons like that. Wow, a walk-on on his right from Austin, a soccer player. Walked on last year as a freshman. What a find. And now he will kick off. Only 3 seconds left on the Jones Stadium clock. Troy Smith is back deep, and he'll take it and run it back out, and this is it. Gets out to the 20, and he's run out of bounds at the 30-yard line, and that's the end of the football game. The Texas Longhorns fight back from adversity to defeat the hard luck Texas Tech Red Raiders by the score of 13-10. Ray Auburn and I will be back with some final comments right after this brief timeout. This is Home Sports Entertainment. A disappointed Jones Stadium in Lubbock, Texas, as the Texas Longhorns pull one out this afternoon, 13-10 over the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas on a field goal from Jeff Ward of about 35 yards with only 3 seconds left in the game. When you're the Texas Tech coaches, it's a tough way to lose.
Bill, yeah, there's not a whole lot you can say.
You've lost a few of those, too.
The thing is, though, that's a great credit to Texas Tech. I don't think there's anybody in this crowd that gave them much of an opportunity to, they're 13.5, 14-point underdog, to be in the stadium with them. And there's a great credit to them and their players and the staff and the fans and the people support them. And a great credit to Texas. They did not play well. Obviously, it was not one of their better football games, but they did what a good football team does, and that's what they need to do to win. And you got to credit Fred Akers and his staff along with two great football teams today.
And, of course, it shows the character of the University of Texas by being to fight back against all that adversity.
That's why they're number 2. Obviously, they believe they can do it, and they hung in there. They didn't panic, and they drove the ball down there, got it in position, a little bit of excitement, but Jeff Ward kicked the thing, and, just a great credit to them.
All afternoon, Texas Tech had been able to shut off William Harris until the final drive, and somehow that big rascal was able to get open for the 31-yard catch, the one that really counted.
Hey, Coach, great athletes make the plays when they need them.
And they make you great coaches.
And they make you great coaches. And you see this play here by William Harris. As you say, he had not had a great afternoon, and all of a sudden he's a factor in a football game. And you go back to the same day, you can't have a circus without animals. and that kid right there is a good football player. He's been a good player for him all year long.
Of course, that got Texas in position to run a few more plays off the clock. The clock was running, Texas was out of timeouts, and Jeff Ward ran on the field calmly and coolly, kicked it through with 3 seconds left, and Texas wins it 13-10. We'll be back with some final comments after this timeout. This is Home Sports Entertainment.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Stevenson, Sr.
And I'm Bob Stevenson, Jr., inviting you to join Pappy and me each week for Texas Fishing Lines.
We're going to give you the most up-to-date information and weather forecast for your weekend in the great outdoors.
And our special guest will show you the latest in equipment and tackle and the best way to use it.
Texas Fishing Line, each Friday on Home Sports Entertainment. We'll show you how to have fun outdoors.
We'd like to thank Texas Tech Athletic Director John Connolly, SID Joe Hornaday, along with the Texas staff of Athletic Director DeLoss Dodds and Sports Information Director Bill Little. Without their help, of course, this telecast not possible. The executive producer today has been Jack Stanfield. The Director of Productions, John McIntyre.